prime hope is that the public will stay off the routes and allow the response to happen.
Hit it hard, hit it fast, and be there while it's still manageable by a 3-man crew.
We would look to being declared a state of disaster.
I'm Kuljeet Kayla. Today our stories will focus on emergency preparedness, and we'll be taking a walk through this Vancouver house and learning how to secure it in the event of an earthquake. But first, we're going to look at how the GVRD municipalities and province are working together through the Joint Emergency Liaison Committee. One of the first projects undertaken was the creation of disaster response routes.
The key to the whole disaster response route network is supplies in and people out, and you choose somewhere that's hardened already. Abbotsford is likely to survive better in the case of a large earthquake than YVR is. Our main source of help, our main source of aid is the Abbotsford Airport. That's where all the disaster response routes connect to, and that's the whole idea of them. Disaster response route is definitely not an evacuation route in the common sense of the word. We don't want people, local people, on the disaster response routes. We'd like them to get off as quickly as they can because we need those roads for the response. What I like to think of it is there's a fire truck trying to get through to your home. Your house is on fire, which happens in a lot of disasters, and you're there on the route, you're blocking traffic. Do you want to get home quickly, or do you want that fire truck to get through and save your family that's in the house?
We would look to being declared a state of disaster, no question, and the province would step in, much like they did with the forest fires. And while they take the lead, they look very much to the local governments to help. Those of us who run the emergencies within our cities become, key contact points. We'd probably all be gathered out at ECOM as a place to kind of work in conjunction with the province.
You'll see very quickly traffic control set up. Valid responders are allowed on the routes. Anyone who is a valid responder has been issued, or should have been issued, a responder identification. We classify a valid responder as anyone who's needed in the first 72 hours to restore critical infrastructure. So that can involve anyone from school maintenance crews right up to the RCMP, police, that type of thing.
Why Vancouver? Because I think through the regional model that we have, everyone could see that none of us had enough resources to be able to respond independently, and that it required our ability to work together, come together, and coordinate, because we're all interlinked. The municipalities have always come together to look at sewage, to look at water and their distribution, and so we knew how to coordinate those kinds of things. It only made sense for us to move to the next chapter of emergency planning.
This bridge could possibly fall down after an earthquake. With the effect that the disaster response route would be broken, or the bridge has been strengthened right from the base up. The bases are wider and stronger, the bases are into the ground. The columns that you see have steel wrapping around them now to make them stronger. The girders are tied together with extra braces to make sure that the girders don't fall off the piers. And this actually is the last bridge that we have to retrofit on the disaster response routes. We've made a very concerted effort over the last 5-6 years to strengthen them, and we're there now.
We have a very dense, concentrated population. We have to be very capable of moving and responding and moving people out of a disaster zone. And so it's critical to us. our bridges, our highways, our network is very tight. So we need to be able to know where the responder routes are going to be and be able to communicate with that with our public.
Our prime hope is that the public will stay off the routes and allow the response to happen.
Even though it rains for many months of the year, there is a limited supply of water in the summer. Don't worry if your lawn gets less water. That encourages the roots to grow deeper. We have lawn sprinkling regulations to make sure we have enough water to last the summer. Wednesdays and Saturdays for even-numbered addresses. Thursdays and Sundays for odd-numbered addresses. From 4 to 9 in the morning and from 7 to 10 in the evening. You can water your flowers, vegetables, and shrubs by hand as often as they need it. Water. Don't waste a drop.
Find out about sustainability in action at the GVRD's website, gvrd.bc.ca. Learn how the GVRD is integrating economic, social, and environmental perspectives and working to build a sustainable region. Preparing your home to minimize damage from an earthquake can be accomplished through a few simple precautions. We called upon the GVRD's earthquake guru for some preparedness advice, and he suggested we start in the basement. I'm here with Robin Gardner, the GVRD's Regional Emergency Manager. Hi, Robin.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Now, I wanted to ask you, a gas leak from a broken hot water tank is a pretty big concern, isn't it?
It is, but there's a fairly simple solution. What one can do is strap the tank, top and bottom, to a wooden stud or to a brick wall, and that'll make it much more stable. You can either use this sort of tape, or you can buy kits that are fairly readily available in hardware stores.
Oh, okay.
While we're in the basement, I noticed another thing that is of concern, particularly for older homes. In older houses, one of the problems is that the house itself may not be attached to the foundation. So to check, you need to take back the drywall and look and see whether or not the sill plate is actually attached to this concrete. And if it's not, then you want to consider putting in a piece of threaded rod around the foundation, and then screwing it down so that the house is actually attached to the concrete.
So what do you have to attach that?
Well, one of the problems, of course, would be that in an earthquake, the whole house can walk away from the foundation. And if it falls off the foundation, it can be very severely damaged.
Another great tip. One of the little-known foundations of emergency planning in our region is the Vector Group. These ham radio operators play an integral communication role in emergency response.
We're down at the Vancouver Marathon at the Plaza of Nations at the start-finish line, and Vector is providing the amateur radio communications for the course and for the organization. Vector stands for Vancouver Emergency Community Telecommunications Organization.
Okay, Rover 2, can you advise the...
It's done by amateur radio operators, and the amateur radio operators, a lot of people sort of heard of that, the hams, but don't really know what it's all about. Ham radio operators are licensed by the government, and we're able to work on numerous frequencies. We do a lot of experimentation, a lot of special events, and the emergency communications.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, join me in the countdown. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're underway. Good luck, everybody. The 2004.
Setting up at special events serves a number of functions. First of all, they get to practice their skills and become even more capable. But in addition, it allows us to deploy additional communications personnel out into the field during special events, which assists both our police, our fire, and our ambulance service in responding quickly to an emergency. Perfect case in point, during the 2000 Celebration of Lights, then the Symphony of Fire, we actually had a multiple stabbing of some individuals at Denman and Davie, And the first people on the scene were our amateur radio people, who then passed on the gravity of the situation to us and allowed us to rapidly dispatch ambulance services, because we hadn't received a 911 call until they actually got on the scene and said, something really serious has happened, we need to get some help here right now. And as a result, the speedy response of the ambulance saved 2 individuals who we initially thought were going to be deceased.
A lot of the amateur radio operators, they have their own equipment, so they're familiar with what they're using already. And we have established procedures in place, and we practice those procedures in these special events so that we're prepared for the real thing.
Amateur radio is one of the most valuable services, and it should be part of every EOC or Emergency Operations Center for every city in British Columbia. And that's because when communications goes down or is impaired because of emergency traffic, amateur radio can set up virtually anywhere, anytime. We're very dispersed, and we can set up and get communications through either locally, regionally, or internationally. And so all the cities will try to incorporate some aspect of amateur radio in as their backup communications plan.
1, go! The marathon is now officially underway. The final race of the day.
Vector is a critical component to our emergency plan. They provide us with our 3rd level of redundancy, and we do have satellite communications. However, that's horribly expensive to use, whereas the Vector group provides us with very reliable, very professional communications at virtually no cost to the city. Their key role is in a catastrophic disaster situation where they supply the primary and the only communication to our emergency shelters and reception centers.
This system that I'm using right now is an amateur radio system called APRS, which stands for Automatic Position Reporting System. And what it is a method for providing graphic information. This system uses a GPS receiver, a satellite location receiver, that's connected with an amateur radio, which is then placed on a police motorcycle, and this is the police motorcycle that's pacing the lead runner.
Vector's got 110 to 120 members this year. We've been growing every year, adding a few members. We have a basic amateur radio course that we run in the fall, every fall, starting late September, early October. And it runs for about 10 weeks, so it finishes up the first week of December. And basically what it does is it gives you all the information to write the amateur radio exam for Industry Canada. And then once you write your exam, as long as you pass, then you're an amateur radio operator. And then once you get your license, generally what will happen is the amateur radio operator or new operator will join up with one of the clubs, and pretty well every city has got a club of its own. And it gives you the contacts and gives you the introduction to the hobby, gets you out to events like this, and all the clubs do events.
So not only do I get a chance to play around with these electronics and radios, I can use them for a better purpose and serve the community.
GVRD parks are buzzing with activity. There are many great family activities running all summer long. Look for the Check It Out program guide in your local library or on the website www.gvrd.bc.ca, or you can call 604-432-6200. Enter the Sustainable Region's Home Sustainability Challenge. Tell us what you are doing to make your home more sustainable, and you will be entered into a draw to win this home sustainability kit. The kit includes low-flow shower heads, a thermostat timer, energy saver light bulbs, and much more. Call us now at 604-436-6794 or email us at sustainableregion@gvrd.bc.ca to enter. After securing the basement, we headed upstairs to the dining room. Well, Robin, we have a beautiful china cabinet here. Now, is this earthquake resistant?
Well, unfortunately not. This is actually 2 pieces of furniture. People don't realize that they're separate. And in an earthquake, this top piece can fall over. So one of the things that we suggest is that people attach the top to the bottom with a bar like this, one at either end. And that will ensure that this can't tip over.
Now, what about ornaments on top of cabinets like this?
Well, those are not a really good thing because, of course, up there in an earthquake, they're liable to topple down onto the ground and break.
Now, speaking of things breaking, what about glass?
Well, yes, certainly glass is a problem, and you don't want to be trampling on broken glass like this, so it's a good idea to have boots or shoes by the bed, and then you can walk around in the house and not get cut feet.
Okay, great advice. Knowing where to find your utility turnoffs is essential to good earthquake preparedness. It's important to know how to turn off utilities, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's important to know how to turn off water and electricity, and if you were to smell gas, how to turn off the gas at the gas meter. Here we have the gas valve, and it's in the vertical position, showing that gas is going into the house. And just to turn it off is you just turn it through 90 degrees like that. And you can use either a spanner like this or a wrench to turn the meter.
Our next two stories also deal with emergency preparedness, but on a much larger scale. The GVRD's watershed is made up of about 60,000 hectares of forested land, and it's protected by firefighters. We met up with them to find out what steps they're taking to suppress wildfires. We also tagged along on a wilderness rescue training operation which involved dangling 46 meters from a helicopter.
Good morning, Peter. We've got some lightning overnight. We've got about 43 strikes on our lightning map. I was wondering if you could fly on up here with your bucket and we could do a little recon in these areas.
Hey guys, so we have to get the IA kits ready. And Tony, if you can grab the truck. You talk to people and they say, I'm like, oh, I work on the forest fire crew in the GVRD, and they say, what? I didn't know there's a forest fire crew, or we don't have forest fires. And I'm like, well, we actually do, but we're in there before anyone can even recognize that anything's going wrong.
One of the activities that we carry out in watershed management is protecting the forested drinking water supply areas. And those include the Capilano watershed, the Seymour watershed, and then over across Indian Arm, Coquitlam. And that encompasses about 60,000 hectares. So during the fire season, starting late in the spring and we run through to October, we have a complement of staff that are trained and prepared to take action on a fire should it break out in those areas.
Any sort of fire with ash or cause instability in terrain is going to create problems with our water and drinking supply.
Typically what happens is the lightning will strike a dead standing tree or a snag, and that begins to burn. And as the burning continues on, then the tree a lot of the times falls over onto the ground, and the ground below starts burning. And again, at that stage, it's just a spot fire. They can range in size from half a hectare sometimes, but typically we don't get much larger than that.
The main focus of initial attack crew is to get there, hit it hard, hit it fast, and to be there while it's still manageable by a 3-man crew.
Jurgen, I think we're going to have to take that snag out over there.
One person's usually the foreman.
Sounds good. Escape routes are going to be off to my right here. There's a clear patch down there.
Second person usually runs the chainsaw. You're cutting trees down. You're cutting a helipad so that you can get further crews in, as well that you can get out. And the third person on the crew runs the pumps and is in charge of the hose lays and running the pump.
This is my first summer with GVRD, and I've come from forestry engineering background. It was really good actually just being on the fire line and pulling out the hose, getting everything set up, even getting here, going through the motions with the helicopter, the trucks.
Mostly the watersheds are lightning strikes, and we haven't had any human fires. People aren't allowed in here. It's restricted. Every day the job's changing. This is like the office right here, so you can't really beat it. It's got lots of different aspects to it, inside, outside.
Yeah, stand by for water, please.
Looking at the fire regime that takes place in the interior of British Columbia, in the coastal areas here, fires happen much less frequently. But when they do happen, there is the potential for significant impact with the infrastructure that we have in place here, housing subdivisions, industrial activities, and that type of thing. In some cases, we may consider letting a fire burn, depending on the geographic area that occurs in, whether there's any infrastructure nearby, how dry the particular area is, and what fire danger rating we are in. To date, we haven't done that.
Summer of 2003, during in the Kelowna and the Naramata area, simple precautions that were taken by some people was the difference between losing your house and not. Keeping your eaves troughs clear of rotten debris, clearing dry loose wood, mowing dry dead grass. There's going to be a lot of interactions between other agencies such as the fire departments and Ministry of Forests and the GVRD, and it's right now we're really improving the communication between all the departments.
We're sharing equipment inventories, bolstering our ability to communicate together. Again, all in the effort of, if we experience an interface fire, that we can respond collaboratively.
Yeah, the rock's a little bit hot here, son. A little hot? Yeah. If you get a good lightning stretch come through and you get maybe a half a dozen fires out of it, you're really starting to feel it by the end of the week. But when we can come out and put a good day's work in, you feel like you're achieving something.
I guess we can demope and call this thing a patrol status.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Once people get familiar with everyone's skill sets and what they're comfortable with, it's a real team effort, and it's a very rewarding job.
Three-man initial attack crew was working on a fire. There's chainsaws, there's fires, there's lots of hazards going on up there. It's quite possible for somebody to get injured, and in this case, somebody got injured while felling a tree.
We have a priority 1 medical emergency. I repeat, a priority 1 medical emergency. Do you copy?
Yeah, copy, Yuri. We're here at our Boneyard Field Operations site, and we've come to do a scenario with our helicopter flight rescue system to kick off National Safety Week. We've got people from our Parks Department, we've got, again, people from our Construction and Engineering, and we have people from our Operations Department in Watershed Management Division, all partaking today in these exercises.
Over the summertime, the fires that we work on are often in remote work sites. We have to have a viable means of extricating an injured individual.
And I think we can easily transport them from this location back to Bone Creek. You can see off to the right there. I recommend we go back and rig up for a sling rescue. Okay, we'll take it back to Bone Creek.
We've done a recon flight up there. Yep. At present, we cannot hover exit in there, nor is there any other viable land means of getting him out of there. It does look like a good spot to do a sling rescue. It's clear enough to do that. So that's why we're rigged in this fashion. I think will be the most expedient way to get him off the hillside.
We go over our objectives, state our plan, we do emergency procedures, we do safety checks, and we slow everything down quite a bit, and that's the key because you don't want to rush it. Everybody's got to have the right gear, the right equipment, the mental attitude is important because you don't want somebody thinking it's a big kind of cowboy show and you're hanging off the end of a helicopter and stuff. There's got to be, everyone understands the reason why we're doing it, and to keep it in perspective.
It's potentially dangerous, but when you compare it to having no plan at all or some of the other alternative methods that we have tried, this is by far the least dangerous out of all of them, although it looks fairly flashy, if you like.
Hello. Yes, Roger. I'm gonna start that right now. Great, buddy. Doing great. Hang in there. Breathe slowly down. Okay.
Rescue 1, rescue leader.
Go ahead.
Are you ready for pickup this time?
Good to go.
The procedure is very slow and methodical. Again, it's very specialized. There's risk involved with it, and the staff members taking part in it want to make sure every step of the way has been checked. All the equipment is in order, their harnesses, the connections, all that type of thing. In fact, you wouldn't see this proceeding any differently if it was a real life situation.
Tour the Capilano and Coquitlam watersheds. Visit two of the GVRD's most scenic watersheds and learn about the unique natural and cultural history that led to the evolution of the GVRD's drinking water system. Free tours run Thursday to Sunday from mid-June to mid-September. Call 604-432-6430 to register. Well, now that I'm prepared for just about anything, I can finally relax. We would like to hear your comments on this show. Call us at 604-436-6794 or email us at sustainableregion@gvrd.bc.ca. I'm Kaljit Kayla, and I'll see you next time.